Hey there, my YouTube crowd. Joe will probably be here throughout the video because it's storming and he's kind of afraid. So he's probably going to be like this most of the video. Now, this video is going to be about movies. Those of you that know me pretty well know I quite enjoy movies and television. I was largely educated by PBS, although I do want to give credit to my teachers when I was in school and stuff. I learned a lot from PBS and documentaries when I was younger. I still enjoy watching documentaries quite a bit. Um, and at some point, as you grow older, and I'm sure that this happened, to my parents and grandparents and stuff like that, you start to realize pretty quickly that a lot of movies are just sort of remakes. Um, Tron and The Matrix are essentially kind of the same deal, but I can watch Tron over and over again, whereas The Matrix didn't exactly hold the same charm. An impressive movie, yes, but um, I think it also has to do with how much that movie was on Sunday with commercials, right? Like Lucas, for example. I know that's a weird movie to bring up, but like I haven't seen Lucas without commercials, and I have no wish to see Lucas without commercials because I saw Lucas so much when I was a kid, I could just never see it again. All right. A lot of people feel that way about Predator. I never caught Predator on Sunday, I guess, or decided not to watch it that way because I enjoyed the movie. But a lot of people dislike Predator for the same reason. It was on Sunday while people were trying to sell you vinyl siding during a commercial break. Um, so I think that happened to The Matrix essentially. Um, so I think that this can bias our opinion about media, right? And you can take whatever I say here with a grain of salt. This is all just my opinion. But I think that modern movies are just frickin' garbage. They're garbage. The last like slew of movies that I have a lot of movies. I was just looking through my movies folder here, and I have a lot of movies from like the 2010s, like to 2014, maybe into like 2017. And there's certainly some things I think that are pretty good. Like the Lord of the Rings franchise was pretty good, although it's getting a little dated. The Planet of the Apes, the newer Planet of the Apes movies are pretty good. Um, but they're also doing this like we're just gonna do sequels until like the thing just no one goes and sees the thing, which is part of what I'm gonna discuss here. So let's get into the meat of this thing. I uh, wanted to take my dad. So I've actually seen two movies within the last few months. The first one that I bought on that card was Cheech and Chong's last movie, which was interesting because I'd never actually seen a documentary um, in a regular theater that wasn't like an IMAX, and that was really really interesting. I learned a lot about Richard Marine and Tommy Chong. Um, they're actors. Okay, and I also kind of got to learn a lot about like Canada and California and their varying movie scenes and stuff like that. So I thought that was a relatively informative movie. But again, it wasn't necessarily a movie. My dad touted it like it was a movie, but it was a full-on documentary. Regardless of that, I actually enjoyed the experience. But people obviously don't want to go see stuff like that or can't relate to it in this day and age because we had the theater to ourselves, and this was a very limited run movie. It was only playing for a very limited time at one theater in Arlington. We were lucky to have caught it, actually. The next movie that we went to see was for my father's birthday. I wanted to take him to a movie. Um, and we decided to go see Karate Kid Legends. It was the only thing that wasn't like hours and hours long or part of a franchise which he hadn't seen, like John Wick or whatever. And I just don't need to explain the entire John Wick franchise to him, while we're seeing this movie. He has seen most of the Karate Kid franchise, so I figured, okay, we can probably like meet halfway on this movie and like get along with it. Now, it was not an R-rated movie. It was PG-13, and when you go and see a PG-13 movie, you're going to see PG-13 previews. So I want to divide this into two things: the movie itself and the previews. Well, let's talk about the movie first. It was great seeing Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio on the big screen again, but a certain amount of this movie felt like it was getting those dudes on screen. Okay? The movie could have done with one of them or neither of them, probably, and actually been okay. Jackie is an old guy now, and he is not like doing as heavy stunt work as he used to do. He can't. So although it was nice seeing him do a few stunts and do some fighting and stuff like that, it wasn't like watching him hang from a helicopter in Operation Condor. Okay, Operation Condor Jackie Chan is not around anymore. But in a lot of ways, he is probably a better actor, and his line delivery's gotten better and stuff like that. Ralph Macchio, I mean, he's Ralph Macchio, right? He's been doing a lot of acting lately with Cobra Kai, which is a much better series than this was a movie. But mostly the acting in it was pretty good. The cast was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. Okay. Was it better than, say, Karate Kid 3? Yeah, maybe. It might have even been better than the next Karate Kid. But was it, original Karate Kid good, or even Karate Kid 2 good? No. But it was an acceptable movie. It was not terrible. But it seems like I've said that about a lot of movies lately, that they're sort of not terrible but not great. Okay? Now, let's move over to the previews. So my feeling, and again, I realize that you're going to see a PG-13 movie. There are not going to be very many R-rated previews, or previews for R-rated movies. Although I think there were two R-rated previews. Not R-rated previews, but previews for R-rated movies. There's a difference. There were no Red Banner previews. And, my dad and I sat there and watched this entire set of previews and didn't see one frickin' thing we wanted to see. Okay? I don't know, they're going to be releasing another Smurfs movie, and it seems like every Smurf movie they release is just doing injustice to the original media. Okay? The Smurfs was a pretty good cartoon when you're a young person, but I don't know why they feel like they need to keep, beating this into the ground, the Smurfs franchise. There was they're basically going to relaunch Police Squad or Naked Gun. Now, I'll admit, when I was a younger person, nothing made me laugh like the Naked Gun movies. Okay, I have laughed my ass off to the Naked Gun movies, but I have not watched them as an older person. I don't know that it would be the same now. that my tastes have changed a bit. And essentially, the way they're doing this is I forget the guy's name in the movie, but basically Liam Neeson is going to be playing Leslie Nielsen's character's son. So he's now in Police Squad, right? And it seems like it's going to be like a dick and fart joke movie. Um, if you like dick and fart joke movies, then it's probably going to be great. Um, do I recognize Liam Neeson as a great comedian? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's done a few comedic-ish roles. He was like kind of funny in A Million Ways to Die in the West and stuff like that, but I just don't know that that's him. Uh, I have not really laughed at the previews like I thought I would. I thought the more R-rated preview for that was funnier than the PG-13 preview for that. Um, I just think that movies have really gone downhill. Um, Now, another thing I'd like to point out here is I have kind of reverted a bit as a movie TV watcher. Um, One of my favorite movies of all time is 12 Angry Men, which is a 1957 movie. And a lot of the shows I like to watch now are like Star Trek, original Star Trek, like maybe some Next Gen, DS9 and Voyager here and there. Um, the newer treks, I love the darker mood, but I don't know. There's something else about them that's kind of turning me off. They're not very well written. Um, but like I can rewatch original Twilight Zone over and over and over. I can watch TOS over and over and over. I can watch old school Outer Limits like quite a bit. Um, I think that you are going to learn a lot more from a Twilight Zone episode than from watching some guy who thinks he's a social justice warrior talk forever on YouTube. But I just don't think that. I mentioned the Planet of the Apes franchise. I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes earlier today, and like, wow, what a movie! That wasn't that hugely long ago either. Um, but I think largely like movies have lost their way. Then there's the other classification of movie where I kind of like the movie and people tend to give it a really freaking hard time, like the RoboCop attempted RoboCop reboot in 2014. I've probably watched that movie 3 or 4 times this week, and just certain parts of it to reanalyze certain parts of it. And the more I see that movie, the more I like it. Uh, do I think it's better than original RoboCop? No. Is that movie better than RoboCop 2? Yes, I think so. Um, RoboCop 2 is not a hugely great movie. Um, they could have made that movie a lot better. The 2014 RoboCop movie was definitely filmed in Canada. I can tell it was filmed in Canada without even looking it up. Just the film stock. There's something about. That's the other thing. If for some reason the movie whiffs Canada real bad, like this is trying to be Detroit, but it's obviously Toronto, it's kind of a turnoff for me. Um, I get that it's affordable to film in Canada and stuff, but why don't you guys in the comments kind of let me know how you feel about um, modern streaming, modern movies. Maybe I've just gotten too old or something. But drop your feelings in the comments, and thank you for watching to the end. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm always trying to kind of grow my channel. All that being said, do have a good night, and thanks for watching. Goemon Ronin signing out.